All right, we're live. Tap and Birdie, the Masters. We have Tap and Birdie, strategic partner, scratch golfer. I gave you the better intro last time. I don't know if it would be funny again. Andy Lack, how are you tonight?
I'm fantastic, buddy. How are you? You hanging in there? I know you've been busy as well.
No, I'm actually not hanging in there. I'll be honest with you. I'm not hanging in there. It's a little tough, major week, and working a full-time job, a lot of podcasts. Happy to do them all. Just a little stress, got a lot of writing to do, got some TikToks to put out. I mean, it's a very busy week, as you know, one of the busiest mans in the industry. Are you keeping it together this week?
Yeah, I'm great. I mean, I've got you're doing a little major report stuff with us too after this, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Once I get through tonight, it quiets down for me. Then I just have first cut stuff Wednesday, Thursday, and scramble on Friday. So I'm
little
chilling.
Official TV type deal, little CBS type vibe with the boys. I can't wait to listen to that. That'll be good. That'll be some good exposure.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait to talk strokes gained with Kyle Porter.
I mean, legitimately your best boy. I know that, that might not be public information, but, he's one of your best boys. So I'm glad you guys are going live together.
Yeah, him and Rappaport are the new friends of the program.
Legitimately best boy. So we got to shout out our sponsor, our great presenting sponsor, BetSperts first. So they are doing a giveaway to play a round of golf with Paige Spiranac. You might know her only from being a guest on Tap and Birdie. That's kind of her claim to fame. That's kind of how she got into the industry. So go check them out. If you're on their YouTube, go like and subscribe and go enter their newsletter. All you have to do is just enter your email and you're automatically entered in to possibly play around with Paige Spiranac. Andy, I mean, that seems pretty good.
Sorry, I was just retweeting. Wait, I have a question for you on that.
Yeah.
Do you think you would play well with her, or do you think you'd be nervous?
No, I would not be nervous with her. I already got all of the nerves out of the way when she came on the pod. Just to disclose, when I ended the pod, my stomach was inside out. Like, I felt horrible. Like, I don't like those feelings. I like, coming on to TIB, having a few beers and just chilling. But with her, I mean, heart rate through the roof. Stomach, a lot of Pepto-Bismol after. It was tough. And I would assume that the people that will be playing with her will feel the same way.
That's how I feel every time I do a pod with you, Brian. I get like butterflies in my stomach.
I appreciate that, Andy. I think that's totally valid. But look, it's Masters week. And Andy, we are very good friends. You're one of my best friends in the industry. And the Masters is the week where all of the casual fans come out of the woodwork and they say, okay, this is the week I'm now going to, have a little bit of action on the Masters. And we do this every single week. We handicap, doesn't matter the event, we're in on it. So when picking out my guests, I always want to have the best guest on for the event at hand. Andy, you are the most informed, detailed person in the industry. And I thought you would be the perfect guest because I think this podcast will garner a lot of people that maybe aren't that familiar with betting on golf and don't do this every week. So I just thought you were the perfect guest, and I'm really excited to have you on.
I appreciate that. You're very kind. I would argue there are a lot of people that are just as, if not more, informed than I am, specifically on sub-air matters. But yeah, Brian, I'm excited. Where do you want to go with this? Let's dive in wherever you want to go. What are you trying to start with?
If you were a casual bettor and you were just kind of coming into the space and wanted to have some action, what type of things would you want them to look at in terms of finding a golfer that could be profitable, whether you're betting them outright, top 10, top 20, playing them in DFS, betting them to make the cut? Like, what are just some simplistic things that people can look at this week that you feel are very important that, a golfer, you would want them to have in order to succeed at Augusta National?
Well, I would say for casual bettors, I would say just bet on the top dog that you want to root for, because at the Masters, it's a very high percentage chance that it's going to be won by one of the best players in the world. Last 10 years, we haven't had a player ranked outside of the top 30 in the official world golf rankings win. So I would say pick your favorite top dog, whether that's Rom or JT or DJ or Rory or Spieth, whatever. If you want to go a little bit of a step further, I've talked a lot about on the various podcasts now that I've done this week that I think distance really matters this week. Augusta is currently getting dumped on right now. Like it's going to rain here for 12 hours straight, basically. It's not going to stop raining until 2 a.m. in the morning. So what does that mean? I think it means the golf course is going to play a lot longer. The golf course was already made longer because of some changes. So now you add rain into the mix and suddenly there's no carry distance. There's no rollout on the drives, right? And long iron play becomes more important. And suddenly this course plays closer to like 70, 78, 7,900 yards. So I think if you want to take a little bit more of a angle, I'm trying to separate some guys based on long iron play and distance off the tee.
Absolutely, and I thought your Sunday pod was really great in explaining that, and I think that it's going to be important because two of the hardest holes that are already very long are going to be even longer, and these guys are going to be hitting longer clubs in with their approaches, and like you talked about, there's not going to be as much run out in the fairways. So, if there was kind of a barometer and a breaking point that you wanted to pick between two golfers, this might be the week you want to take the longer guy. But, obviously it's Augusta National. I'm really looking for inform iron players. Obviously, always like inform iron players. Kyle Porter put out the stat that 7 of the last 9 winners have gained X amount ball striking in the 3 months leading up to the Masters. That's only leaves a few people. And then, like we've seen with so many people, just having an immaculate short game is just going to be so important this week because these greens are so undulating. They're so fast. And, any event that Spieth has dominated at and Patrick Reed won his only major at, short game and having experience on these greens is just always going to be important. So, and I just think short game and experience around these, lightning fast bent grass greens are always going to be important. And I think it's something to definitely target and look at in golfers this week.
So one thing I always like asking you is, do you have any, given the information that you just laid out in terms of what you're looking for, do you have any total cross off red ink guys that, I love when you come on really bold with a take about this guy isn't winning. And I haven't really seen you do that yet this week. So I'm wondering if you can give the audience a top player that is 0% chance of winning.
Absolutely 100%. Unequivocally, Rory Mcilroy is not winning the Masters.
All right.
I know that's a square take, in my opinion. I'll admit that because he obviously hasn't done it ever. And he's such a talented golfer. That game is very much suited for Augusta, but he just hasn't been able to get it done. So I would say unequivocally Rory McIlroy. He would have figured out Augusta by now. And he missed the cut last week. So unequivocally, Rory will not win the Masters. I'm sure he could top T8, but off the bat,
you're dumping money down the drain if you're betting Rory to win.
I would say. I would say unequivocally. Absolutely. So let's get into the top of the board. Because this is like my advice to people. Like you said, I would pick your favorite 2 top dogs under 25 to 1 and just call it a day because one of them will most likely be in it on Sunday. And that's really all you can ask for. Okay. So the betting favorite, you get him at 13 to 1 about is Jon Rahm. So you have a very complicated relationship with Jon Rahm, I would say. And you've kind of dived into, okay, maybe I'm going to, bet Rahm at 14 to 1 at the match play and the players and, see how that goes. Are you going to go there again this week? Or are you off betting Rahm under 50 to 1? Is there something fundamentally wrong with this short game and putting right now?
So you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Rahm speaking as a golf fan. I don't love his behavior sometimes. With that being said, I thought he gave a great interview today. I don't know if you caught it. I thought his interview today was spectacular. I thought it was insightful. He seemed focused. He seemed centered. And I am generally able to remove my bias and whether or not I like a player's personality. I play Rahm a ton in DraftKings. I play him every week pretty much because I'm a big numbers guy and his numbers continues to suggest that he's underperforming based on his talent level. And I'm going to continue to play him in DraftKings, but I don't think that 12-1, 9-1, 10-1, even 13-1 is a fair price right now on him, his chances to win a golf tournament. So I think he's an easy pass for me in the betting markets, but yeah, I'm going to play him in DraftKings. His short game isn't broken. And the theory that I have about him too is I think he may be one of those guys that has struggled without the greens reading books, right? What else can explain why he's putted so bad this year? So now what if we go to a course that no one has green reading books? Maybe that levels the playing field a little bit. And Rahm's putted awesome on these greens. And you listen to what he said in the interview, and he's very aware that Scottie Scheffler just punked him and took his spot. Like
for the 8th time.
He's the Rahm killer. He's dangerous. He's going to finish top 10. He's not going to win though.
Yeah, no, I would say he's a shoo-in for top 10. And last year at the Masters, he showed, peak Rahm performance, even par first 3 days, 6 under on Sunday.
Yeah, just slides in there, completely irrelevant all week, and then just slides in there for
when you look at that,
Wikipedia
he top
page.
10 his last 3 times here. Look, I think Rahm's a good DFS play. I would say he comes in at least 16-17% ownership at a minimum. I think people will play him, and it's been shown people have been rostering him in DraftKings because they're looking at the same things you are. So I think in DraftKings it's fine play. I do not think it's worth it.
You think less than JT though, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
I project half a Heineken in, JT 22% ownership this week. So look, I have to give you credit, Andy, because you went on podcasts, you went on a Tap and Birdie special edition Masters season preview.
Yeah.
And you went on here and you said that Justin Thomas is winning the Masters. And now a lot of people are having similar thoughts. And you were kind of the pioneer in terms of JT at the Masters. And look, he just checks so many boxes this week. And there were basically 3 different, aspects as to why it leads to JT. So one, just the recent form, in my opinion, he's the best golfer on tour that does not have a win this season. I think that's pretty fair. You look at his track record at Augusta, and then he has Bones, who's won multiple green jackets with Phil Mickelson on this course that tends to favor experienced golfers that, know how to work their way around it. So Andy, you were the pioneer and, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah, I still believe that. I don't like that he's on the side of the draw that I think is less favorable. Somebody just said that in the chat. That's a worthy concern. That's a fair thing to worry about. I don't like that he's in the group behind Tiger. So he hears all the Tiger stuff going on in front of him, or he's before Tiger. I can't remember. He's next to Tiger. He's either first one before or first one after. Anyway, he's going to hear all the Tiger nonsense. But what I will say is this, and I've talked about JT so much on podcasts dating back to December. I bet him at the Masters every single year. I just like the fit. So I'm not going to belabor the point. But I do think one angle that I like a lot that not a lot of people are talking about is that there's going to be a westerly wind this week. Now, what does that mean? That is the more difficult wind. That means the wind coming from the west, obviously. But from what I've heard, that creates the most difficult conditions at Augusta. That's the worst win that you want to have if you're a player. And I think that's going to stump a lot of players. I think it's going to make a lot of players struggle. And I want a guy who has a guy caddying for him that knows what the fuck a westerly wind is and can stand on the 12th tee and say, okay, don't be fooled by this. It's swirling here, but I've done this with Phil for the past 2 decades. Here's the move. And I think that's going to really, really help him this year. I just think it's like when a coach gets hired in the NFL, like a super offensive minded head coach gets hired in the NFL just for the quarterback and to get the most out of the quarterback. That's what I think this Bones hire was. It was specifically to win the fucking Masters. Why else? And so I think it's going to happen this week, and I'm excited for it.
I'll officially be there with you. I'm officially tailing you, Andy. I'm tailing your pick on JT this week. But another reason I like
Hang
JT,
on, do the people there's some policemen that could, I've got a lot of nerve admitting that.
I just want to get out of it like before it happens.
Yeah.
And
then it's my fault if he sucks too. So I understand what you're doing. That makes sense.
That's absolutely true. But I think that JT kind of fits the mold of, I think he will be the fourth historically bad putter, excellent ball striker to win the Masters. Adam Scott, Sergio Garcia, Hideki Matsuyama, Justin Thomas. I think he fits that trend. And then I also think that you kind of look at Masters winners, other than Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth and Danny Willett, like they all were just kind of trending towards a win. DJ had excellent course history before he won. Decky had some good finishes. He was low amateur. Sergio played 15 times before he won. So
get you with the stats.
Look, I went on a couple pods. I did some work. But yeah, JT. Look, he's not the most tipped. So I mean that's
Brooks, right?
Yeah, it's Brooks. He's second by a decent amount. So look. I think JT is going to win 14-1. You can get it. I would bet that. And DraftKings, a little tough given the fact that his ownership will be pretty high for all the reasons we laid out. So next guy I want to talk about is our boy Scottie Scheffler. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, hottest golfer on the planet, best golfer on the planet right now. I tweeted out last July, look at Scottie Scheffler's major record. He's been unbelievable. Like, he's going to break through at a certain point. He's extremely talented. And we've gone through our highs and lows with Scottie. Look, I had a lot of money on him at the Houston Open, and he made some really bad bogeys down the stretch on Sunday. And he missed some 3-footers for par. And I said, I don't know if this guy can win. But then you brought to light Scottie at Waste Management that flipped the script of his career.
Yeah, you stole my pick on that one too.
I absolutely stole that 1000p. I'm gonna say I like Scottie. I'm gonna play Scottie in DraftKings. Okay. I'm playing Scottie in DraftKings. I project, let's say 13% ownership for him. He's had a decent track record at Augusta. And like we're talking about with the caddies, he's got fucking Bubba Watson's caddy on the bag. We know how important caddies are. Hashtag Looper Life. Shout out coach. So I think Scottie's going to go a little bit under-owned, given the fact that people don't want to pay $11,000 for him. So I like Scottie in DraftKings, and I do not buy the narrative that he's just run too hot and that he won't keep it going. I made that joke that like we'll be saying it at Wells Fargo. Like, he's not going to win the Masters and all these events. Like, it's got to stop eventually. I don't think it stopped this week. I think he finishes T8.
Okay. I love it. We're talking. Chad is electric right now, by the way, with all my favorite people. We're just missing one guy. Hopefully we can reel him in with all the Looper talk we've already got going on. Scottie, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Rory Mcilroy. Those are the 4 guys that you can play in DraftKings at the top that you're going to get some quote unquote leverage on, right? Yep. Scottie will go under-owned. My thing with Scottie is, listen, if he wins the Masters, he like enters me, I'm a bit of a nerd with the historical context stuff where I have like my running list of career accomplishments and greatest players. Like, we start talking about Scottie completely differently if he wins the Masters. He like becomes somebody that's on pace to potentially be an all-time great player. I think it's a big ask. I just think target on his back. I'll be honest with you. I took Rahm in a matchup over him, and it was the biggest bet of the week. So I just the battle for number one. So I think it's a big ask for him right now. But if you want to go there in DraftKings, I'm playing Rory, who you don't like, but I think your move to play Scheffler, I think Rory and Scheffler will probably both be like 12%, right?
Yeah. And that's my hashtag leverage play at the top. Want to talk about someone that is not a leverage play would be Cam Smith. So look, I'm done talking about it. Okay. Everyone's been asking me, hitting me up. Did you really bet Cam Smith at 37-1 in December to win the Masters? And now he's 15-1. Yeah, I did. Okay. It was the best bet of my life. It will probably mean nothing. It will most likely mean nothing that I got 20 points of CLV on it. You know, we love our CLV, Andy. We talked about it a lot during the football season.
Yeah.
And I got some CLV on Cam Smith. Look, he has been fantastic at the Masters. 2 top 10s, 3 top 10s actually. And the thing about it is that when you look at Augusta National, it's like, oh yeah, no shit. Cam Smith has played here. Cam Smith is a guy that can get a little wonky off the tee. Augusta National, you do not have to be deadly accurate with your driver. There's big fairways, so that checks out. And then at Augusta National, you need to have an impeccable short game, and you need to be a great putter. What does Cam Smith do? He is, in my opinion, the best short game and putter on tour. You have to be creative. He's a very creative player. Australians have played well at the Masters. Boom. So there are so many boxes to check with Cam Smith. I do not recommend betting him at 16-1. DraftKings, it's tough. He's going to be the highest owned guy, him or Corey Connors. So you're really going to need him to basically win or T3 for it to pay off for you. But look, I'm riding a ticket. I obviously want him to win. He's on the card. I bet him in the future. So it's a big ask to go back-to-back players and Masters, but maybe he just doesn't. Maybe he's just so lackadaisical, and maybe he's just so chill that it's just not as much pressure as it would affect someone like Rory.
Yeah, I like your bet at 40-1. It's hard not to like that bet. At his current number and his DraftKings ownership, he is an easy fade for me. I think he's of the top guys, right? He is one of the worst long iron players. So I think that was an easy way for me to separate between some of these guys. And he just gained 12 strokes putting at the Players. So it's a big ask to do that again. But if you're holding a ticket at 40-1, you should probably feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. Buddy. So I'll be rooting for him, you know. And I also think, like, I would say, top 10. It's too short. Like, it's just too short for me to bet him top 10. So
yeah. Are you playing him in DraftKings? Are you gonna
no, absolutely not. No? Dude, what am I, a square, bro? What am I, 22% of the public, dude? Next guy, we were kind of like hoping for a little drift, and I know you have too. I've been like actively monitoring all odds, and I've been hoping to see a 2 in front of DJ's name, and it is just not moving at all. It's actually going down in some places. So little Vegas, little conspiracy. We all know Vegas, they are time travelers. They know what's going to happen. Vegas is not giving you any breaks on Dustin Johnson, 2020 Masters champion, and he's playing some really, really good golf. Was unbelievable at the match plays, 4th place finish, had the low round of the day, top 10 finish at the Players. He's dangerous this week, and I'll be there in DraftKings. I do think he'll be about 17% ownership. Would you agree with that?
I have him at like 14, but I wouldn't surprise me one bit if he got to 17. I'm with you on this one 100%. I would have bet him at like probably 20, 22. And I don't think we're going to get that. So I'm going to go in a different direction. But I like DJ. He's my one and done guy in one of my leagues. And I'm going to be there with you on DraftKings.
All right, so we're playing DJ in DraftKings. I run him up in my article. He's probably my favorite 10K play, but just I think there's too much ownership around too many people. So, 18-1. I just can't get there betting JT as well. It's just too tough for me. So, a guy I want to talk about, he is the most tipped golfer this week. He checks a lot of boxes. And I'm going to be honest with you, Andy. I'll be pretty upset. I don't really get upset with myself after winners. I'll be upset. I'll be upset with myself if Brooks Koepka wins at 20-1 and gets his first green jacket, coming in excellent form and has an impeccable Masters record. Like I don't even know why I'm not betting Brooks. So I'm if there's one guy, there's always one guy I don't want to win. It's Brooks this week. I won't lie.
I feel like it's Brooks every week for you, no?
Well, no, not really.
Isn't it Tiger this week for you, buddy?
I'm done. I'm done with the Tiger slander. Like I'm a Tiger stan, and I'm just done with this blasphemy.
You couldn't take the heat of having a bad
there
take
was
against
no
Tiger.
heat. There was literally no heat. I am like it's ridiculous. We could talk about it when we get to him in the odds board in about 3 people.
I don't think Brooks is going to win this week. That I'm laying down a marker. I don't think Brooks is going to win this week. So I don't know if that. I mean, like you said, he's playing great. Is he play? Like I don't know.
He's playing. I think he's just playing better than he had. Like he was in.
Yeah, I think we as somebody that bet him a ton during the fall swing, not something I'm proud of. I think the Brooks people, wanted to grasp onto something so much. So just when they get a little bit of glimmer, suddenly like, oh, Brooks, here he comes. It's like, okay, like I hear you. I probably he has okay form, but I'm not. I don't know. I'm not as worried about him as other people.
I'm a little worried. Like my counter to that would be that he went into the PGA Championship with 0 form.
Fair.
And he was injured and he was in the final group. Yeah. And this kind of brings me into my point. I was there. Okay. I was there. I saw this with my own 2 eyes. And we've talked about this on a podcast before. Mm-hmm. Something changed that back 9 on Sunday at Bethpage at his PGA Championship win. And genuinely, I don't care what anyone says. He hasn't been the same golfer on Sunday. People look and say, oh, well, he won Waste Management. He got lucky and chipped in for eagle and everyone fell out of it. He wasn't in the final group. He wasn't battling it out. He fell into that one. I know you agree with that. And then we look at Brooks on Sunday's Waste Management. He was in an excellent position to win that golf tournament in the final group, and he faltered. He was in an excellent position to win the PGA Championship with fucking 50-year-old Phil Mickelson, and he faltered. We talked about it before. I think he got a little bit too hot 2018 to 2019, so I hope that keeps it going. But that's all I got. I'm worried. I'm having nightmares about Brooks Koepka winning tonight.
I understand why you'd be worried. Brooks at a major obviously is a factor, but yeah, I mean, I think we'll see. Is he? Yeah, I don't have any more takes on Brooks. I think he gets like everyone. It's fine. He's fine. So there's guys I like more.
So why is Rory the pivot play at the top of your DraftKings lineups?
Okay, well, first of all, he's going to be really low owned, which I think, I talked about this on the podcast I did last night, but if Rory's 12% and JT's 24%, I'm going to still play Rory 10 times out of 10. So we're going to get a soft golf course. It's still dumping in Augusta. I'm just talking to somebody who's there right now. It's dumping. And you look at Rory, how he's done on these soft golf courses. Look at what happened at Congressional, right? Where that US Open, where they got dumped on and he blew away the field by 8. I'm not saying he's that same guy, but there's countless other examples where he's done that before on these longer golf courses, Quail Hollow, and there's Memorial and Riviera, Torrey Pines. There's a bunch of other examples anyway. But when you get to a place where carry distance matters and long iron play matters, and you have to hit the ball high, and some of the players in the field are going to be separated by whether they can hold these greens with a long iron, it's Rory. Rory's the guy that you want under those conditions. And I don't know if I believe this. He talked about, I don't know if you caught any of his pressure today. He talked about how he feels less pressure this year. I don't know if I totally buy that, but I will say this, like Tiger is going to be a fucking vacuum this week. He is going to suck a lot of the air out of the room. Rory's got a comfy tee time. He has what I think is going to be the good wave. So I think it's a good play. I think it's a good play.
I love it. I really have no counter to it. Like I don't. You put me on the spot earlier. I just said Rory. I have no counter to that at all.
It's a good case.
You should take Andy's advice. So I really don't even want to talk about Victor Hovland really that much.
We're out.
I mean, I just never play him in general. And I'm not going to play him at 20-1 when there's more attractive people. Mm-hmm. One thing I want to say about Colin is that people were like, we'll never see a 2 on Colin, at a major again.
Yeah.
And he'll never be underlooked at a major again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, here we are. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of the case right now. There were some pretty juicy odds on him on FanDuel last night. I know he tweeted it out. So I know some people actually caught seeing that, but there was like a 25-1 on him. Is there a case to be made? I have no exposure to him this week. He's just someone I'm not going to go to bed and not look at.
100% there's a case to be made. I mean, he's probably the guy I'm rooting for most to win that I don't have money on. I guess other than Xander, because I'm not betting Xander this week. But yeah, Colin is good for my brand. I've been arguing that he's doesn't get enough respect, and this is a very good example of it this week. I will tell you why I'm not playing him. I talked about this westerly winds. I do not like that he does not like to hit a draw. That doesn't mean that you can't win the Masters not hitting a draw. DJ hits primarily a fade. Brooks primarily hits a fade. Patrick Reed is a lefty and he hits a draw, so that's like the same thing as a righty hitting a fade. But a westerly wind, that's just going to make the ball fade more, right? If it's coming out of the west. So I don't want to get into the minutia of that. It's going to depend on pin positions and all that stuff, right? But I don't know if I'm not sold that this golf course, Augusta National, is the best fit for Colin Morikawa's game yet. I think it can be, but I'm not totally there yet. And his short game's been pretty bad recently. Not a good bunker player either.
All right. So, Colin, he's not going to keep this major run going. And, he's not someone.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. You can't bet him all.
I don't think he'll ever win a major again. Is what I'm getting from you. That's kind of the case you laid out. Is that he is a Rory McIlroy. He's just gonna win a bunch when he's young, and then just absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think he's gonna be my bet at the U.S. Open. So I'm telling you that right now.
Done. No. So I hope. JT at the Masters looking good. Could Colin, kind of catch that same seam? And could you think we could see a 2 in front of his name at the U.S. Open?
Well, we've talked about this, Brian. The guys that I have my eye on for the U.S. Open are Colin and Spieth and Patrick Reed and Cam Smith, right? And our boy Russell Henley, who hopefully isn't 35-1.
Yeah, that's good value there.
Yeah.
Love that.
Have you seen that on any cards this week? Have you seen a lot of Henley?
I actually saw on one card someone bet him at like 50-1. Like all vibe, like that's fine with me. Like we're not there yet, but where do you see? I would play him at sub 15% ownership.
Yeah,
will he be though? I don't think he'll be. I think
he'll be right around 15. Yeah, he's right next to Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick's going to be more highly owned. I'm playing Fleetwood in that group, who's going to be like 8%. But yeah, Henley's fine. He's a good iron player. He's top 20 here. So yeah. I didn't tell, because like my card just in general, everyone kind of bet someone like in the 20s, and I didn't, tell you who I bet in the 20s. You did. You put it in the group chat.
I did, but I wasn't. Yeah, I did. I thought it was like low key. Like I wasn't like, okay, I definitely deliberately said it. But I'm on this new local book, and they
hang on. This is like the big reveal. People have been waiting for this, right?
Who am I betting in the 20s? Jordan Spieth at 26-1.
Man.
Like, this is really like a 75% number play for me. Like, I just think it's an absolutely egregious price on Jordan Spieth at Augusta at 26-1. Now, if I really loved somebody else, I would have probably bet them, but I didn't. And I had the 26 and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to reiterate his track record at Augusta. Obviously has a green jacket and has a bunch of really, really great finishes here. So little trend, little something I like that I'm seeing in the numbers is that normally when Jordan Spieth loses a bunch of strokes putting one week, he gains the next week. So this happened at the PGA Championship. He lost 2.2 strokes putting, did everything else fantastic. Next week, gained 7.1, came second at Colonial. And then at the Players last year, he lost 2 strokes putting. Next week, gained 5.7 putting. He lost 7.2 strokes putting last week as the defending champion at Valero. But he hit his irons great. He gained 6.2 on approach. And I think the reason as to why Jordan's been so good at the Masters, I know JT talked about this. He literally, it was in his fucking presser, is that he said Jordan's such a amazing lag putter that's why he does well at Augusta. Jordan Spieth obviously has an unbelievable short game. So I just think that if he lost 5 on approach and gained a bunch putting, I would be less interested. But I think the fact that he lost putting and last year, he did not putt well at Augusta. 1,000% absolutely did not putt well at Augusta last year. I think there's some regression there. He sucked me in enough, and 26 it's just a too good of a number to pass up on Jay Spieth this week. I know I sound like Kyle Porter. I know I sound like no laying up, but I didn't think I would get there, but it's just too good of a number for me.
That's fair. I don't have a counter on that. I think 26 on Spieth is absolutely worthy of a blind wager. I don't hate it. I think that I will throw at you something. The two Masters that I'm looking at, that 2019 and 2017, the Tiger and the Sergio Masters, where it got more rainfall and played a little bit longer, were the only 2 times in the last, I think, 6 or 7 years that Spieth hasn't finished in the top 10. So I worry about his long iron play a little bit. I will say that of the elite players, he's probably over a large sample size, the worst long iron player, but he's not short off the tee. That's a thing that's a misconception. He's fine in terms of distance, and it's 26-1. So he'll be there. Like he'll make I think he'll be in the mix.
He's a lock to make the cut. Like, in my opinion, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. What could go wrong? Yeah.
Absolute lock to make cut. So the second guy on your betting card is Patrick Cantley at 25-1. If you asked me a week ago if Andy was going to bet Cantley this week, I would have said no, but I know you love to zag. So what is your case for Patrick Cantley this week? And why do you think he has a good shot at giving his measurements for the green jacket this week?
I've made this case a couple times, so I apologize for people that have listened to previous content I'm putting out this week if I'm repeating myself, but I do not understand how quickly things change with these guys. I mean, I said this to you, Brian, when you bet him at the Players. I said, I think that he plays on the West Coast more than any other elite player. And he loves those golf courses. And he's the only guy that plays the Amex of the elite guys. He's the only guy that plays Pebble Beach of the elite guys that does both of those. And then he does Riviera too. And then he did Phoenix this year. And then he did Hawaii. I think that Florida spot of the Players in the match play, I think it's a little bit of a letdown for him, or at least it has been the last 3 years, where between the West Coast swing and the Masters, he has a little bit of a letdown. And so now we get a guy who people were talking about as maybe the best player in the world what, 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago. Now we get him at 25. I still haven't bet him yet, by the way. I'll talk to you off air about that. I still keep holding out hope. I may need you to just place the 25 for me, but I don't understand how it changes so quickly with this guy. I mean, he was 9-1 and 35% owned at Pebble Beach. I know it's a different field, but my God, like, it's Patrick fucking Cantley. He went on this run like less than 6 months ago where he went like win, second, fourth, third. Like, he's a good player. He's in the conversation as he should be with Cam Smith and Scheffler on the odds board. And I think you're getting a discount on him, both in DraftKings and betting. So I think he's going to play well this week. He's been awesome on bent grass. He's won at Memorial twice, right? Which is a course that Nicholas drew a lot of inspiration on from Augusta. So I think he's a guy this week, and I think he's going to play well.
I love it. I just put $100 on me for you on Patrick Cantley. I have 25 available. It's done. It's on me. That's your appearance fee for TIP this week.
Doesn't fit with my hashtag units, Brian. You know that.
But yeah, look, I have nothing to say. It's just not for me. I'm not betting it.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's fine. But I think Andy made a compelling case. And if you're watching this and you said, "Oh, I agree with Andy," I think that makes a lot of sense. Go bet it. I have no qualms about it. I want to talk about Xander Schaffle, like, just very quickly. He's kind of a guy I throw in the Tony Finau, Louis Oosthuizen in. Not in a sense, no. Not in the sense that he can't win, in that you just play him in majors. You don't worry about the form or anything. They just seem to excel in major in more difficult conditions. So I don't think that there's much. I mean, he didn't play great at the match play. I'm not going to, kill him over that. But I think the case for Xander is that he's just good at Augusta and good in majors, and he'll show up for this.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time last night with our mutual friend talking about Xander. I tend to do a thing where I convince myself. I got it so locked in my head that he's going to win at Southern Hills. So I'm having like a more difficult time with this week. And I've always been so JT in my mind for this week for so long. I tend to do a thing where Wednesday night rolls around and I really, I start talking to my Xander Legion buddy, and I get kind of brainwashed a little bit. So there's a very good chance I'll be on the hashtag unofficial card come Wednesday evening. But I don't know. I think Cantley's a better play than Xander this week. And I'm able to take my bias and emotion out of it, which I always do. Like, I don't like Jon Rahm. I play Jon Rahm all the time, right? And I love Xander, and I play Xander a lot. But I also, I just, an unbiased opinion, I think Cantley is at a better number. He's at lower ownership. And he's better right now at golf than Xander. So that I think with Cantley and JT, and both of us bet the same guy in the 80 range, I just don't have room to go all in on one more guy. But he's going to play well. He's a threat. He's 50% at majors, top 10 percentage over 18, which is nuts. And he's not crazy owned. He'll be like 16%. Okay. So I'll have some in DraftKings.
Love it. Look, Andy's the only guy who needs to talk about Xander Schaffle, and also our mutual friend Jeff Nagel. So go check out their stuff if you want to hear about it. Look, so this is like kind of a difficult week in a sense that everyone wants locks, and I want to give out locks. And I tweeted this out 2 weeks ago that my mortgage play was Will Zalatoris top 20 at the Masters. You could currently get that at like plus 120, plus 130. Like, that is my lock. Like, that is a lock. He will finish in the top 20 this week. Okay. So when I listened to your pod and you talked about how this being a longer course this year, and there's going to be less run out in the fairways, and you're going to need to be good with your long irons. That only plays into the advantage of Will Zalatoris. So in that aspect, the fact that it's going to play longer this year helps Will Zalatoris. He's absolutely unbelievable in his distance off the tee and with his long iron. So that's one. Two, he putted for whatever reason. I don't know what reason. Maybe it's the reason that bad putters tend to putt better on fast greens and at Augusta. He putted fabulous. And that is the biggest weakness in his game is his putting. So I'm going to play an immaculate ball striker in a place that he's proven he could putt well at. Another thing is that at the match play, they talked about it on the broadcast, is that they made some changes to his putter. And then he started to putt really well. Like, I don't know. There's not like, how is that not a thing? How is that not going to help him? And he fucking finished second here last year. I bet him with the each way, Andy. I bet him with
outright.
The each way.
You bet him to win too.
With the each way. But I would not recommend betting him outright with no each way. I really wouldn't, because I do not think he can win. I think he can top 20. I have a lot of money on it. I'm going to put more money on it. I'm going to be doing content, and I'm going to be giving out picks, and that is my quote-unquote mortgage play. So I love Zalatoris this week, and I'm betting him with the each way, and I hope that cashes, and he will absolutely cash unequivocally a top 20 for me this week, and everyone who tells me.
The whale play bombs have been kind of hot, right, recently?
I hit Lowry. I've been okay. Connor's last week.
I feel like I forgot about Connors. I feel like
I've hit some max play bombs. So I'm not gonna sit
I was gonna say I think what I was thinking of wasn't UNC +4. Wasn't that a mega whale Moby Dick?
I mean, anytime I bet on something that's not golf, mortgage play.
Yeah.
Anytime I kind of dive out into some other sports, mortgage play. So next guy I want to talk about, he's another mortgage play for me. And I don't know what's up with this local book that we're on. This is not some Japanese local book that 3 people have. BetFast Action is a pretty... Shout out Mateo. I don't know
if he's in the chat. Great guy. Shout out Princeton.
Guy. Legitimately my dude. He's my boy. He got us on a book that we were prior on that we loved. And like 2 weeks ago, I'm looking at Master Odds, and it's like Shane Lowry 80-1. It's like, I'm throwing $50 on that. I know you were able to get there too. So look, Kyle Porter tweeted it out. Like, in form,
do you have notifications turned on for Porter?
No, I just love that tweet because like Lowry was on. I'm gonna pull it up because I want people to hear the full shebang. But okay, we're scrolling. God damn it.
Do you want me to ref for you right now while you look for it? Lowry?
Look, no strokes gain data. I followed his every single shot at the Valspar, and he put legitimately everything to 12 feet. Now, look at his strokes gain data. He's been playing just some unbelievable golf right now since the near win at the Honda. So 2nd, 13th, 12th, tee to green numbers, 10.1, 5.7, 6.8 in his last 3 starts. Shane Lowry, top 20, absolute mortgage play. He will finish in the top 20. He finished T21, T22 in his last 2 starts. He's a way better golfer now. He will finish 1 or 2 strokes better. Top 20, Shane Lowry, absolute mortgage play. And he's no stranger to winning big events in maybe some difficult conditions. He's an open champion. He's not someone that, doesn't have a lot of wins, but he wins big events. 80-1, it's a great number. I recommend playing it up to like 55 to 60. But I've been a Lowry stan since the Honda, and I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping now.
Yeah, I'm with you too. He's on the card with JT and Cantley. He's my final play. 80-1. I thought your case was phenomenal. I would only add, I think he falls into the category of probably gets a bump if it gets a little more windy. probably gets a bump if it does play a little bit longer because he's a really good long iron player, as you already alluded to. So yeah, he was the long shot that I just wrote up for Odds Checker. He's, in my opinion, the most likely winner of this tournament, above 80-1. I've seen a lot of Adam Scott love. I just think Lowry's playing so much better golf right now. So I'm with you. Let's ride, man.
Lowry, look, he's a longer shot, and they don't know. I have the money on him to win. Obviously, I want him to win, but realistically, I think a top 10 and a top 20 are just some excellent plays for it, and I'll be all over them, and I'll be putting my money where my mouth is. So, I know you have some obligations, so I only want to talk about really important golfers that you like this week, and one of them is Tony Finau. I know you like him for a top 20. And I know he showed some signs of life last week. I know he hasn't been, the most amazing golfer since his win at the Northern Trust. But what do you see in Tony Finau that you think that he's a good DFS play, a good top 10 play, a good top 20 play? And why do you think he'll perform well this week?
Yeah, I like Finau a lot. I mean, I bet him last week at Valero. I saw enough with him. He missed a lot of short putts. But one thing about Finau is, obviously he gets a lot of flack about his lack of wins and ability to close on Sunday. And I understand all that. But there has been like very few. He's up there with like Xander and Brooks and DJ and all those guys in terms of like top 10 percentage at majors. Like, there's fewer, you're not going to find closer to a safer bet at this odds, at this price, to play well this week, right? Well, I'm not talking about an outright. I like him in Draftkings and top 20, but I think Finau shows up for these majors, and he was in horrendous form last year heading into the Masters, and he still finished top 10. He's playing better now. The ball striking's trending, and I think he's going to hover like right around 10%. You think I'm off on that? Like, do you think he's steamy this week? Or I know the course history is awesome, but I feel like people are kind of, he's right next to Adam Scott. I feel like Adam Scott's going to get more ownership.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit tough. I don't think people are playing Sunjay M. I think Adam Scott's get a little bit of ownership. I think Neiman will be popular, but I worry that legitimately the fact that he's playing with Tiger will kind of drive down his ownership a little bit. And then Tyrrell Hatton. So I go on to obviously I'm monitoring these odds. I go on to FanDuel last night and I'm scrolling and I see a 95-1 on Tyrrell Hatton. And I'm not a huge, just bet the number guy, but that is an egregious price. That is, in my opinion, the most outrageous outright number in a good sense I've ever seen. And then when I woke up this morning, he was 55-1. I think that, makes sense. This is not something I was going into the Masters. I'm going to play Tyrrell Hatton.
Yeah.
But I just think that he's too talented to be 95-1. I know people can't get that. So I'm not saying, go bet him at 55-1. But I just think he's too talented. If it's very difficult conditions, he's won API in some really treacherous, windy situations at -4. So he's no stranger to winning big events. So I just think that's kind of an outrageous number, and I will have some in DraftKings at AK flat.
I like that a lot. Yeah, Hatton, I played him last year at the Masters when everyone was saying, he's terrible at this course, and he got me a T20. I think he's figured things out a little bit last year, and he falls into that category with Lowry where he's got a great short game, and he's a great long iron player, and you trust him if the conditions get a little bit worse.
Yeah. So, and he's a good par 5 scorer, and he's been playing well, and he's been putting well. So, I'm not gonna, bet a ton of money on him, top 20 or anything, but I just thought it was a little bit of too good value to pass up. So another guy you alluded to before that you want to play and you like in DraftKings and you like as a top 20, maybe a top 40 play, maybe targeting some matchups is Tommy Fleetwood. But I like Tommy Fleetwood. First round leader, absolutely 100%. But, I think that, you've talked about it, his performance at the 2018 US Open, 2019 US Open, I'm not sure which year it was unbelievable on Sunday. He's obviously unbelievable in wind. And I think there was this overall narrative that he maybe fell off a little bit, but he's been playing some fabulous golf, 3 straight top 22s in his last 3 starts. So what are you liking at Tommy Fleetwood this week?
Well, I super nerdy reveal, but I created like my own distance metric this week where I took a bunch of distance statistics and tried to figure out who was actually the longest and highest hitters on tour. And Fleetwood is surprisingly like he packs a punch off the tee. He's plenty long off the tee, and he's got an awesome short game. And he's contended before in majors, and he's going to be 7-8%. He's right next to Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick's going to get all the ownership, and which I understand because Fitzpatrick's been playing better than him. But give me Tommy Fleetwood. Give me Tommy Fleetwood here. I got to bounce though.
I know you got to bounce. You can dip out. I'll see you in like 30 minutes. Obviously, you were an amazing guest, and I'm glad we were able to talk some Masters, and I think it was very insightful for all the listeners. So I appreciate you.
Hang on. Are you going to stick around and kick it solo for a second?
Yeah, I'm going to kick it solo a little bit. A little free
Can I ask you before I get out of here, who's your 6K guy that you're playing? You never told me.
Okay. I like Siwoo. This is a perfect example of coming on too late. Pat Mayo talked about him. He's bound to miss the cut, but I think Siwoo is a very good lower play guy. And then I'm not giving up on Brian Harman. Look, he's been trending well at the Masters. Lefties do well here, and he played really well at the Valspar. So I like him in the 6K range.
Okay, that sounds good. Later, buddy.
Right, I'll see you, bro. Be good.
See you, bud.
All right. Andy left. Don't leave. I'm probably going to go another 2 hours examining every single past champion at this event. I'm not going to do that. But, Andy's obviously a great guest always. So I want to do a little bit on Tiger and talk a little bit about Tiger because he's going to be the storyline this weekend. I think the thing about Tiger is that it's very easy to say that there's just no way he plays well. I don't really see that. I just think that all the reports coming out from the ground and how he's hitting it and how he is around the green, it's too much to overlook for me. And then, if he's playing, some random ass course, like if he was playing the RBC next week or just playing some random event that is a different story. Like this is Augusta National, and we've seen how important course history is here. We've seen how much experience matters here, and that's perfectly exemplified by his win in 2019. Obviously it was a favorite, and I'm not going to say this was like a crazy moment, but he was well past his quote unquote prime, and he uses experience and he uses knowledge to win. So I put like a unit and a half on him to make the cut at plus 120. It's a small field. I think he can make the cut, and I'm just going to go there. So just talking about some guys that, I think we really touched on all the guys we wanted to talk about and people that we're wagering on and betting. Some bets that I like and I'm looking at this week. One that kind of caught my eye if you're in a legal state, for a top 20, Webb Simpson is plus 105. So Webb Simpson has not been in great form, and he hasn't been playing great golf, but I just look at his history here, and I just look how well he's played here and how consistent he's been. And I like Webb. I'm going to be playing Webb in DraftKings. I'm going to be betting him top 40 in his last 4 starts at the Masters, 20th, 5th, 10th, and 12th. I mean, he can finish top 40. I don't care what form he's in. Golfers have shown that they can contend at this event, not being in great form, but using their experience to kind of help them. So I like Webb Simpson for a top 20. I know I talked about it quickly. I like Brian Harman. I think he could make the cut. I think he could top 30. I think if you want somebody in that low 7s, high 6 range, I think Brian Harman's your guy. And he played really well at the Valspar. So I'm down for Brian Harman. And then someone I want to talk about that I think is an excellent kind of pivot in the 7K range and someone that I don't really expect to get that much ownership, given the guys he's around, and someone I will be betting, top 20, top 30, top 40, not sure the exact bet on him, but I'll be invested in him this week, is Mark Leishman at $7,300. You could probably get him at like 80 to 1 to win. I don't think he'll win, but I just think he's too talented and that he has too good a course history and too good a results at the Masters. So he came in 5th last year. He was one of the bigger, longer shots to kind of contend and play well at the Masters. So I like that. And then he was 13th the year before, 49th average result. And then in 2018, he was in 9th place finish. So he's not, I'm high on Mark Leishman this week, 1000%. Like, absolutely 100%. I really like Mark Leishman. And, he's off 2 bad starts not that long ago. He played well, 15th at the Genesis, 16th at the Farmers. Like, he's not that far removed from some great results. So I like him. And then another reason I like him is that last year when he finished 5th, he was off 2 missed cuts. So I just don't think it matters. He has an immaculate short game, and he gets a lot of things, going. So I like Mark Leishman. I'm going to be betting that in some regard this week. I'm not exactly sure. And like I talked about, I like Siwoo Kim. I like Bobby Mack. But I really appreciate everyone who checked out the pod, whether you're listening to it live or watching it on YouTube. I really appreciate it, and been very grateful for all of you. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or anything, and you're listening right now, you care about golf and you care about my podcast, and I really appreciate it. So, I hope everyone has a great night. I hope everyone has a very profitable and successful Masters week. And we'll talk soon. And card will be out tomorrow. I hope everyone has a great night. And I appreciate everyone who checked it out.